Welcome to Wednesday. It's Jeremy Webb here, the artistic director of Neptune Theatre. This is Off the Leash, episode 39. Yes, 39. It's great to have you here. Thanks for watching. We thought tonight would be it would be a good idea to get our theatre school staff in to talk to us all about what's about to happen this summer with summer camps and classes and your kids and what's going to go on. So I want to play your video. It's a very short one. This is what summer camp used to be like. Adorable.
Oh
I am joined by Julia Topple and Laura Caswell.
Yeah, we're both, Julie and I are both crying.
Are you?
Yes, it was so cute. Oh my God.
Are you really both crying? You've seen that video 1,000 times.
I know. It means something different now. In a good way, not in a bad way.
It's a great thing. Oh, you both. That's why you're so good for us at Neptune to have you there. Yeah. Welcome to the show. Not your first time on Off the Leash.
I want to say, tonight I'm on for the third time, so I might be breaking the record at the most Off the Leash performances so far.
I think you might. Wait a second. I'm going to do the math. I'm going to do a little count up. A few people have appeared twice. Celia Keon has been on twice.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's been a few too. I just might be the only person. 3.
Well, this is impressive. It's impressive. Okay, and we'll see whether we can get you on again. We'll find an excuse.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I thought it was a good idea as you have just announced something that we were unsure of when we would know about. You've announced classes again. I thought it was a good idea to actually touch base with you and find out what that means. What on earth is it going to look like? Is it going to look like what we just watched? First off, I guess, let's start by give us the basic facts. When do classes start again for students at Neptune Theatre School, and for what age groups? And give us the basic facts.
I'm also just going to introduce ourselves. I'm Laura Caswell, Director of Education, and that's Julia. Julia, you are?
I'm the Theatre School Administrator and tour coordinator.
Some of you might have just talked to us on the phone or email, so I just want to put a face in the names.
Look, that's the wrong way. That's their faces. That's their faces.
To answer your question about dates, our first campers will arrive on July 2nd. So we had, because of when the holiday falls, July 1st is in the Wednesday of that week. We had always, pre-COVID, planned to have a tiny sampler couple of days that first week to get staff still getting things in place and a chance to kind of gear up. And so luckily that was already in place. So we have just a few students, a smaller group coming that first week of July. And then by July 6th, we kind of kick off with, we have campers from all the way from age 4 and then all the way to up to 18.
Right. I think you should just put them all into one class. I'd love to see the 18-year-olds deal with the 4-year-olds.
Well, we do have some staff, but that's the case.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, and we have about we have 8.5 weeks of camps.
8.5 weeks. So that will take you all the way to
the end of August.
The end of August.
August 28th.
Okay. Wow.
At the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question, Jeremy?
I think so. Yeah, certainly the beginnings of it. So what? How did you get to this point? What has been going on behind the scenes to get you to the point where you can plan to have classes again in Halifax at our theatre in Nova Scotia?
Julia, you want to take that one?
Yeah, it's been a ton. So when COVID graced our shores, we were actually just about to do March break camps, and the day before March break camps were scheduled, we had to shut it down. So we called every parent and explained the situation. Everyone was super understanding. And then after that, it was just kind of a cascade of, things being postponed or canceled from the theater school's point of view. And then finally, now it's something that we've been hoping and planning different possibilities for how we could do summer. And now it's luckily we were planning, because now it's a possibility. And so that hard work is paying off, and we've been able to bring in some more people to help us with the final push of getting things ready. Parents have been amazing. We've been calling them. We've managed to call every parent and check in with them, make sure they're up to date with our policies and with what the plan is going forward. And just everyone's been super supportive and really positive about our approach to summer camps this year.
Sorry.
I was going to say, what did you have to do though with regards to the plans and laying out your proposal? Did you have to pitch how you would handle it?
Basically, what has happened is Community Culture and Heritage is taking that on and consulting with public health. And we've been linked with them via different arts organizations and educational organizations. On our own, we've taken upon ourselves to have weekly meetings with other day camp organizers to touch base, to exchange information, to exchange ideas. And we've even had some one-on-ones with Dr. Robert Strang, asking questions. So it's been a combination of things, and it will continue to be a combination of things, because I don't think this is like a landing spot and here we go. So it's going to be always checking updates, always asking questions, and always coming up with ideas. But the plan and the guidelines was released on Friday from the province for day camps. And we have that information, everything that they said we'd already planned for. There were no big surprises. And some things we're taking even farther. Like, for example, we're not doing singing classes this summer at camps. I've read enough articles, and there's been enough recommendations that group singing is not advised. So we're not going to have in-person singing camps, but we'll still incorporate music. And because we're using a lot more video this year, we can offer the opportunity for students to record singing at home, which we can include in our final video presentation and things like that. So it'll just be a different summer. Yeah.
And so could you outline for me as a parent what I could expect you to be doing specifically to make sure that my kid and my family are safe?
Do you want to go for it, Jewel, and I'll see?
Yeah. Add on anything I forget. So it's going to start off with a staggered pre and post, like pre-pickup and drop off and all that stuff. So we're going to be doing it by age group. So we're actually going to meet parents at the car instead of having them come to us at the building. Just to maintain some good social distancing. We're going to be calling everyone the week before to double check and verify their information rather than doing that on the first day, just to get things moving. There's not going to be any big assemblies. Class sizes have been reduced from Our largest groups were 16 kids down to 8. So every class now has 8 students, but they all still have 2 instructors. So it's going to be a really nice, like, personal sized group. As far as social distancing, our office is completely flooded by pool noodles. So what we have done is we have gotten pool noodles and are taping them together to create these big giant donuts, and they're going to be your spotlight for the week. So each student is going to get a spotlight made out of pool noodles, and that's going to be their safe space to, play around in, and just to kind of make social distancing in a classroom a little bit more fun and colorful.
Yeah.
And something that's really cool that I actually think we should continue to do going forward is normally there's an in-class presentation on the final day, and parents come to the school. The school that we use has 1 million stairs, and it gets very hot upstairs. And not everyone can come, like grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins and stuff. But this year, what we're going to do is film the presentations and email them out to everyone the following week. So that way you can have it and you can share it with relatives who might not be local and who might not be able to go on a normal year. And it'll be a really nice little package to send off to people after the week.
And would there be some kind of waiver or rider that I'd have to sign so that if my kid's being filmed, so that everyone agrees, basically?
Yes.
Yeah, we have all those policies on the NEPTUNETheater.com/policy page. We will continue to update them, and we will make sure people know if there's any changes or updates. To add to some of the things that Julia was talking about, our 4 to 6 year old classes are only half days this time, just to allow it to be comfortable for them to. It's a lot to ask them to be socially distant and wash their hands, and so we're doing half days for them. I was thought of some other things, and now I can't think of them. You showed some pictures of some fun signs we're working on. Kyle was making those today. There'll be lots of signs, lots of hand washing. We'll find ways with music and dancing around to make that fun, and a lot. We'll try and do a little bit more outdoor time as much as possible. That would be a great way to blow off steam in ways that we would have done with large groups.
So let me ask you a question, which I'm sure you anticipated. I have a 4-year-old. No, I have a 5-year-old. Sorry, he's 5. He won't be watching this. He won't be watching this. But if he heard me say that, I would be in such trouble right now. I don't know the age of my own child. That's embarrassing. But I have a kid, right? Let's say, it's not Dylan. And he's in the class, and he's having the time of his life. He's in his little spotlight thing. Thank you. That's the first time I've heard that, so that's great. But then Dylan, who can be a little rambunctious, shall we say, decides that he really wants to go over there and hug, lick, kiss, cuddle, grab, wrestle with that kid over there. What happens then? How are you preparing your staff to deal with that scenario?
Well, we're going to start even earlier than our staff, and what I mean is sending. In the next week and a half, we're working on creating videos and lists and I'll say it, tutorials for parents to help them prepare their young children for what to expect, so that it's not like they're learning those things on the first day of camp.
Right.
And we will, yes, it will be a learning process, but that would always be the case. We always ask students to respect distance and keep their hands to themselves. So there's a lot of things that would always be a part of camp anyway. And if a student is really struggling with that, we'll just have to ask them to go home for the day, and then we'll have to assess if they can come back. Not because we don't want them, but because we need everyone to be safe and to have fun. We don't want a kid who wants to hug everybody and to keep getting told, no, don't do that all day long and have a terrible time. What we are also working on is creating some online content. So if a student actually becomes ill or for whatever reason cannot come to camp anymore, we're going to have some online options so they can continue to be creative and do some of the same activities, but they will have to do them at home.
Right. What are the criteria that me and my kid have to meet in order to be able to join the class on day 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? What do I have to check in every day?
Julia, do you remember that?
Yeah, so some of the things we're putting in place are you have to take the phone call the week before. just to go over and verify all the information. There's going to be a waiver to sign or to give verbal confirmation that you've read it and understood it. Also the media release, because we will be recording the presentations. We're also going to be asking folks how they're feeling every day when we check in and take the student from the car up to class. And we're going to all have clipboards with all of the essential questions that we ask every day. So how are you feeling? Are you experiencing any of these symptoms? Have you or any member of your family been traveling out of the province? If someone has traveled out of the province within 14 days of a camp starting, they can't come. Right. And that's just, that's provincial rules, and we're going to stick to them because we're on day 8 of no new cases right now, and it's working. So we're going to stick with what the province has put in place. And I think everyone has been very respectful of that so far. So
just to recap, it seems so obvious to say it, but maybe we should say it out loud. With regards to illness, we've got the pretty standard list of symptoms that mean you should not come to camp. And I don't want to read the whole thing, but it's all the same ones you see posted everywhere regarding COVID-19. Fever, cough, sore throat, headache, shortness of breath, muzzle aches, sneezing, nasal congestion or runny nose, hoarse voice, diarrhea, fatigue. Now there's the lesions and the nausea and vomiting, which is the one. The lesions is the one that scares me. I didn't know how that suddenly came into being, but anyway, I'm not a medical person. Unusual fatigue. I joked about when we were talking about this. I was like, well, you just described every symptom that I have on a daily basis at some point, being a middle-aged man, or a kid with nasal congestion or runny nose. So are we planning on watching them really closely so that the slightest sniffle?
Yeah, I mean, obviously people are going to sneeze and people are going to cough. It's going to be, I think the key is what I'm understanding, and I'll continue to do my research, is it's the change. It's like, it's new symptoms. That is what should trigger new symptoms, especially if you have had a chance of coming in contact with someone with COVID-19, is what you really any of us need to watch for. I sneezed at work today and I was like, oh my gosh, am I okay? But it was one sneeze and there's blossoms outside. So right now I'm like, it's okay. But obviously if it becomes more than that, that's when I have to check it. Obviously, again, I'm not going to claim to be a medical expert. We're going to share all the information that we have and that's been given to us. And what we are doing is if someone is sick and has to leave camp or chooses to leave camp, they will pay a prorated. That means they'll just pay for the days that they were there. Right. So we don't want anyone not pulling out because they don't want to lose their money. That is really important this summer.
Okay, I was about to go into some camp rules, but we do have a question here or a point. Does a parent need to get confirmation that a child's allergies are legit in terms of sniffing? Like I also sneezed actually today 3 times in a row and I always do when I'm in my office and I open the window for the first time as the air shifts. So I know, that was what that was. But this is a good question from Allison. So if they know their child has allergies and they tell you that, are we taking that as a given? How's that working?
We always have on our class lists the child's name, their pronouns. We also include a list of medical concerns, and that includes allergies, to medication or to food or to pollen. It includes behavioral concerns. So that could be anything from their pet just died and they've been very upset about that to they have OCD or, anything in between. So that's something that we already have built in place, that we have that on our list. If someone confirms that, yes, they've been experiencing allergies, we can put that in. And then the instructors have their own lists, which get updated every day, and they can see that on that list. So, okay, Jeremy is sneezing today. Like, let's just check. Oh, he's allergic to pollen. Maybe that's what it is, but just keep an eye on him. And something else too is anytime we're moving between places in the building, whether it be going from your classroom to the washroom or the classroom to the lunchroom or going outside, we will be wearing masks. So it's just in case we happen to pass another person, or, you know, if you're walking in a line and you might get a little bit closer to someone than 6 feet, we are going to be enforcing a mask policy. So just keeping it like extra safe, extra secure, making sure we're just checking all the boxes.
Great. And do I send, Alison, I hope that answered your question, by the way. Do I send my offspring with some masks, or are you having some as well? How's that working?
We are going to ask everyone to bring a mask, and we'll also encourage parents to just practice with their kids, putting those off and on. And again, it's especially for periods where you cannot keep social distance. So if a child scrapes their knee and needs first aid, we're going to ask them to put their own mask on. If, you know, so that would be best if they can put their own mask on. Our own staff would put their own mask on. Think about the airplane, right? Put the mask on yourself before you put it on a child. Yeah. So those are the kind of things we're going to get parents to practice a little bit in the coming weeks. Again, we're working on getting all that list nice and fun and clear for everybody. And we know kids aren't going to wear them all day. We know they would be touching them all day. And as Julia said, it will just be for times when we can't guarantee that social distancing can be maintained.
Great. I wanted to ask you, because I saw it mentioned in some of your information, the possibility of field trips, or, you know, leaving the, because I guess we're not going to talk about where these classes take place, because, you know, it's a school environment. I don't know. Do we? It feels suddenly weird to suddenly give out the location.
I mean, they get the location, but
you get the location if you sign up for the class. But it's a very well-known building in Halifax that you know that we've been using for a while. But I guess so. Are you planning on getting them out of that the confines of that building, and how's that going to work? And what's your plan there?
Again, that's nothing new. We've always had that as an option. So we just might be doing it a bit more because, again, we won't have as many big breaks with mixing students. Students will be mixing together. That's times, as we all know, with recess or something, that's how a student's day gets broken up and keeps it interesting. So we're going to encourage a little bit more walkabouts and doing things outside. We have access to a canopy tent that we can put outside. That means it's not covered, so just offer shade. So if a parent wants, if its teacher wants to do a class outside, just for a change of location, that they can do that. So yeah, we're just talking about going to a park and doing some activities at a park, and using that time to play into the drama exercises, observing the trees and incorporating that into our sketches or our characters, looking at the birds and using that to inform us as actors, not just, oh, we have nothing else to do, we're going to go on a walk.
Yeah.
Something else I really want to do is take a wireless speaker, one of our really good wireless speakers, out to, because the park nearby has a giant field. And a lot of our students are amazing singers and dancers and really just want to be able to sing their hearts out, and just space them apart, 15 feet apart from each other around the perimeter, and just have a dance party. Because that's my favorite part of camp, is we have one every week, and it's just a huge dance party with the entire group. So we can't really do that this year, but I'm coming up with a way to make it happen, and it's going to be outside.
Can I come for that? I
haven't
been able to go to a bar to sing karaoke for 3 months, so that's my only.
Yeah, we'll play some ABBA.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Please don't. Here's a nice comment. Jade, hi Jade. Starts off saying it's a question. Laura and Julia are so fantastic. They are just such incredible leaders in our community. At the studio at Shakespeare by the Sea, come to think of Neptune Theatre as our big sister. I can't just thank them enough for how open and inclusive and helpful and inspiring they've been. I guess it wasn't really a question. My bad.
Thanks, Jade.
As soon as you said question at the top, I knew that there was not going to be a question at the end.
But I will say, thanks, Jade. I really have been amazed in this, how everyone's working together. We have been, like I said, weekly communications with Chris O'Neill from Ross Creek, talking with Richie Wilcox at Ships, talking with Mike from Halifax Circus and Amy from Halifax Dance and others. So there's more. We're all talking and exchanging information, and also people and educators across the country we've been communicating with over the past few months. So we don't know all the information because nobody does, but at least we're not just doing this in our own little hole, in our own little bubble.
Yeah, it's nice to see the community that is involved in this work working together and supporting each other. And we wish them well with their classes too. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm on the mailing list for everyone. So yeah, you've been really busy keeping us all motivated and entertained during the lockdown with things like 14-day challenge, performer challenges, which is fantastic. So thank you for that. It's been nice that you've been sort of part of the, other than this show, one of the main bits of presence out there in the community. So congratulations on that. Laura, take some days off. I just said it publicly. Julia, you heard me say it.
I heard it.
Take some days off.
Hard. It's so hard.
It's not hard. If I can do it, you can do it.
I know.
How often do you get your boss saying, take some time off? I also wanted to just talk about this. What's this all about? The Great Canadian Giving Challenge.
So that is a fundraising campaign through Canada Helps. And is it every $3, Julia? The other way. Julia, is it every $3 we get entered into a draw for the 20,000, I think?
I think it's actually every $1.
Okay. So if you this month, if you donate, you can go to NEPTUNETHEATRE.com/donate and you can look at the Great Canadian Giving Challenge, and we're putting that towards the Matthew Amiot YPCO Fund and bursaries for students to continue education at Neptune.
Awesome. So if I haven't got my butt in gear and booked my kid into a class yet, is there still time? Are the classes full? What do I need to do? Where do I go? How do I do it? I've never done it before.
So you would go to NEPTUNETHEATRE.com/have-fun. If you have your schedule in front of you, you know what weeks you need some entertainment for. Could be the whole summer. We have it divided up for you by week. So you click on the week and then you see what we have available for what age groups. The prices are listed, descriptions. Every week is different. There's a different theme and fun description for each age group. And you just click on the title for that class and it takes you directly to our purchasing page. If you have a teenager, we have a specific page just for teens, and it has their whole summer laid out. And we also have online options for the first time for summer. So if you're a little bit nervous about going to camp in person, even just for July, and you're thinking maybe August, and I'll try stuff online for July, we do have those available there as well. It's at the top and it says, if you're interested in online camps, click here, and then it takes you to that page as well.
And those are just short. We don't expect people to spend all day with us on Zoom. It's just to get creative for an hour here or there for the day. Okay. I just also wanted to say that there's so many great, like novascotia.ca/coronavirus and other sites that can give you a lot more better information about, the signs and symptoms. We will be sharing that information, but that will be our source. So if you're coming to camp and you want to start looking now and there's so many guidelines, there's so much information that exists that has been put together by the people who are really in the know about the virus itself. And I would strongly suggest reading through that.
One final question, which is kind of a bleak one, I guess. So I'll try not to end on a bleak note. But what happens if between now and the start of camp, things go south and there is an upsurge of or an outbreak? What do we do? And if it's not even physically near us, but it's in the city, what's your plan with that? If things start to get worse again, having been 8 days now without a case?
Well, I think the main thing is communication. So we've started that very early. It's just maintaining as open communication as possible with parents and having it be as direct as possible. So the approach that we've been taking is to send out an email and then include all the information in that. People can read and formulate any questions they may have, and then following it up with a phone call 1 to 2 days later. And just saying, did you have any questions, any concerns? Can I help you in any way understand? If it was to be a sudden, upswing in cases in the province, then we would be looking to the leaders of the province who have been helping us so far, and we would take whatever advice they would give. And if that means, you know, it's a Wednesday and we have to stop camp on Thursday, then that means all hands on deck, everyone grab a phone, and we're calling every parent, making sure that they know what's going on.
Right. Okay.
That's what March break. That's what we did. It was the day. It was the day before we had already started making the decision ourselves that we didn't think we should go forward. And then 3 hours later, as we were making the calls, the province shut camp down. So it is obviously a possibility, but I guess that's always a possibility any year. You know, like I'm trying to look at it that way.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to do everything we can to be safe and to have fun, and the rest is out of our hands.
So when I hand you my child in a normal year,
you're not handing them. You got a 6 foot. No, just kidding.
Right. So now I'm throwing them from a distance. I'm
kidding. I'm sorry.
I'm getting the bubble wrap.
Yes.
I'm throwing Dylan at you.
Yes.
I'm going to get in such trouble for this. I would never throw my child. I would nudge him towards you and say, please go with them. Do I normally sign? Forgive me, I don't know. Do I normally sign something that is some kind of, medical waiver over to you, so that if there is an incident and you can't get hold of me,
yes,
that you have the power of looking after my child? And is that enhanced in any way this year, or is there any kind of waiver? Am I signing something to say, yeah, I know COVID exists?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
The answer is yes, you will be doing that. And then we will be checking that with you on the first day of camp, and we will be reminding you of it every day.
Right.
We're going to have clipboards, and when we meet you at the car, on the back of that clipboard lists all the reminders about the basic reminders about COVID and how it affects camp, and we go. But we will have had conversations with you over the phone, or your partner, whomever, to confirm that everybody's on the same page before we accept the throwing of your child into our laps.
The big thing too is that by June 19th, we wanted to have the goal of reaching everyone who had already registered, because we put camps online in January. So we already had a ton of people signed up, and we wanted to make sure that with all the adjustments, they were happy and content and felt assured enough that their kid would have a fun and good experience and also be kept safe. Anyone who wanted to change their plan and wanted to pull out of camp, it was no problem. We had a great conversation with every parent, and everyone else got their questions, answered. And so, but we wanted to have that done by the end of this week, which luckily we've pretty much finished it. And now from here on out, it's kind of everyone who signs up, you're blasted with our policies right off the top. When you go to buy a camp, our policies pop up, and you have to, read it, understand them to proceed. So we're just making sure that everyone knows kind of what they're getting into with this year of camp, and happy going forward with it.
Great. Thank you both for coming in this evening. Stay there for a second. It's been great to chat to you. I want to thank Support for Culture, who Nova Scotia Gaming. They've been so wonderful in supporting this Off the Leash endeavor over the last few months, and we thank them for their ongoing support. We couldn't do it without you, and we really appreciate you. So thank you for that. There are more shows this week. Tomorrow, I've heard a rumor. And I don't know how they're going to do this, but I heard a rumor, and I'll tell you how I heard a rumor, because I saw this graphic showed up on the internet.
Oh no! I got your face.
Somebody's face is covered up. Hold on.
That's Emma.
There we go. Sorry, Emma. I understand that there's a bit of a takeover planned. I don't know that I'm willing to release control of these buttons, but you know what? Maybe I will. So that's going to be exciting. That's tomorrow night's show, and we'll find out what they want to talk about. And then on Friday, for the last show of the week, we have a one-on-one with sound designer Deanna Choi. Deanna is one of the most amazing sound designers I've worked with, and she created the sound design for Cinderella a year or so ago and was booked. She would have been here doing Billy Elliot as well. I will try and get her here as often as I can.
Did she just win an award this week or last week?
She just won an award through the Dora Awards in Toronto. So we're finding out more about that. I'm not sure what the details of that is, but yeah, so we'll find out more about that on Friday. I think we're going to play some Cinderella sound effects, which are quite disgusting and wonderful. And she was very creative. So that's it. And then after this week, we will be going Off the Leash will be trimmed down somewhat to one show a week on Thursdays through the summer. We have to work hard on making plans for how we're going to reopen, when we're going to reopen, what we're going to do. And so we're going to turn this show into a one night a weeker. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks for being here, you two. Stay exactly where you are while I play everyone out with our end titles. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.